I'll close with this illustration. Our general superintendent told a marvelous story of going into the deep, dark parts of Africa, he said, where everything wanted to bite you, eat you, or destroy you. And he said that when they went in there, they had a dinner provided by the missionary and his wife, and he asked them, he said, have you ever been a hard place in your life? And the wife said, yeah, a few months ago, we had a really tough place. Said we get our check because churches pay their tithe to the central mission area, and then it just comes like clockwork to us. We're thankful for that. But we go down to the money changers on the street to trade it into the local currency. Sometimes they've told us to wait a day, then 2 days, maybe 3 days. Said this, we had to wait a week, then we had to wait 2 weeks, we had to wait 3 weeks, we had to wait a month. And because of the volatility of the economic market, we couldn't get the money exchanged in the currency of the locale there. So she said, one day I was in the living room, and she said, my son came into the living room. Teenage son, I don't know about you, we had 3 kids, one of each. And see how awake you are. We had 3 boys, teenagers. You know, teenage boys like to eat. Did you ever know that? And he came in and said, Mom, there's nothing in the cabinets. So what are we going to do? And she said what Jehaziel said. We're going to pray. And she said, frankly, I wasn't convinced when he went back into the kitchen, and he wasn't convinced. But she said, I knelt down and I said, Lord, now you know our need. And you know you need to care for our, help us with our needs. And we need your miraculous intervention. And she said, as she was praying, fish sticks crossed through her mind. She said, when we get back to Michigan, I'm going to have fish sticks until they're coming out my ears. And she went on. They went another day, another day. The last night before they went to bed, the last meal that they had was cold gravy. And they went to bed hungry. In the morning, they were woken up by a clatter. It was a big green van, an American van. He said, you know, we Americans, ugly Americans, we make a lot of noise when we go around in third world countries. And he said, people started piling out of this van and coming to the front door. And he said, when they knocked on the door, they said, hi, we're the Arms, was their name, Jerry and Pat Arms from Potsdam, New York. He said, we're work for an oil company out here. We've got high walls and barbed wires. We don't want to go out. It's not safe to live in this country. But they said, we have a little Bible study. And we said, hey, let's go meet the missionaries. We have some missionaries in this country. Let's go meet them. So they said, well, let's take some food. And somebody said, no, they're well cared for. And another one said, well, everybody needs food. And so we went to the commissary, and we all got what we thought would be good. And we packed the back of the van with this. And he said, and then people began to carry bags and boxes. And they filled the cabinets in the kitchen until they were so full, and they said, there's no room left. They said, well, there's some missionaries down the road from another denomination. Let's help them out. So they went down there. They packed their cabinets. They came back, and they were just about ready to leave. And the wife said, hey, I forgot something. And she sent another 2 men out there. And she said, as I looked out the window, these 2 guys came, and they had between them the biggest cooler she'd ever seen in her life. And they brought it in and opened it up and packed on dry ice. What do you think was there? She said there were fish sticks until they were coming out my ears. Now, she made this statement. Let me tell you this. She said, what do you think of a God who is able to do exceedingly abundant above all we could even think or ask? Because why, folks? You believe that? The king, say it with me, has one more move. And you know what? I'll bet you he does for you. I'll bet you he's got maybe one more secret for you. Maybe just one more miracle. It'll probably bankrupt him, but ask him for it anyway. Just ask him for it. The king has one more move. Now, let me tell you what God does. The miracle of preaching is this. And I need the miracle of preaching because he has to do something beyond me. Here's what he does, and I know what he always does. Here's what he does. While the preacher is preaching, he talks to each heart, and he says, you know that thing that's crossing your mind? It's what the Holy Spirit's doing. He says, I can help you with that. We could find a solution. It may not be today. It may not be this week. But that thing that the miracle of preaching happens, God the Holy Spirit has said in your heart, we might have a solution for that. Don't be discouraged or defeated. Yeah, right. No, maybe one more secret. One more miracle left for you. And I believe God has that for you. And he's saying, I'll show you myself strong to you. The eyes of the Lord seek to and fro across the earth, seeking, who could I show myself strong to this morning? And he has an answer for you. Join me in